This week, Bobby, Yasha, Michelle, and myself will be sitting down and discuss the latest news, including everything coming out of D23 this past weekend out in Anaheim. All that and more coming up right now on Flicker Effect 416.
Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look at this. We are back, guys. It's been a while. And we're not just back, but we're back live. So, like you said, David, there's a decent amount of stuff to talk about. But, before we get to that, you guys did your annual trip to Dragon Con. We haven't actually discussed what you guys saw and what you liked at Dragon Con. So I just wanted to take a minute to give the floor to you guys, and so you can talk a little bit about your experience this year at Dragon Con. As a matter of fact, how many Dragon Cons have you both attended at this point?
So I was trying to remember the other day. I can't remember if the first year I went was 2012 or 2013. So basically I've been going 10 years.
Wow.
Because I think the first year I went was the same year I first went to Comic-Con and met you, Bobby. I think I ended up going to that Dragon Con right after that.
Oh,
that was my first
okay.
one. But I can't remember. I think that was 2012 or 2013, one of those two. So other than that missed year for the pandemic, been going every year. Michelle, you've been going?
I can't remember if it was 2015 or 2016. I'll be honest. 2016 maybe. So every year since then, and obviously in 2020 it was a virtual year, so we didn't physically go, but we participated virtually through their streaming services. So yeah, so 7 years, give or again, I can't remember if I went 15 or 16. I don't think, I have to look.
Well, when you put it that way, I guess technically I've attended one Dragon Con. That was the virtual one.
That's true.
So
yes.
I guess that you could say I've gone to Dragon Con at least once, but just not the in-person version. So was there any big highlights that you saw, Michelle, that you really were excited about this year?
There was a big highlight that I missed.
Oh.
She really wanted to be at.
So I will say, as a whole, I had a great year at Dragon Con. It's my first year volunteering, and it was a really good experience. And I think I got to do basically everything I wanted to do. But I will say, like, as far as panels go, if I were to rank the panels that I wanted to see, the number one top panel that I would have, like, just given my right eye for was the one panel I could not attend because of my volunteering, and it's because we had a panel going on that is our main kickoff panel that it's mandatory for us to attend, which is fine, but it was just like the stars and the moons and the gods all aligned, and the one panel I wanted to see was that exact time, and it was the panel for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And yeah, like, and it was like all the main cast too. I really wanted to go so badly. And it's one of those, like, if you were to have paid for Dragon Con Bobby virtually and streamed it this year, like, I'm pretty sure that Friday morning you'd have been sitting there with a bowl of cereal and been like, this is the panel right here. It was a great kickoff for Dragon Con as a main streaming panel that they had. And I still haven't even watched it yet, and I really would like to. Overall, I would say it was a good con. Again, doing the volunteering for the first time was a really great experience. I'm looking forward to it next year, and I want to volunteer again. And I really like the track that we're on. We're on the digital media track, so, you know, works out well for here. But I think in a weird way, I kind of felt like the cosplay was a little lacking this year in years past in comparison, which is a little surprising because even last year when we went, you know, in 2021, it was like the first year back, and we were still very deep in the pandemic, and everybody had to wear masks. I felt like the cosplay was still pretty strong, maybe because everybody had more time to work on their cosplay through the year. I don't know. But I will say, like, this year I felt like it was a little bit lacking. There was still some good things that stood out for sure. You know, we did the Walk of Fame one day and got to see everybody. And so I did actually get to see Anson Mount, and I can't remember the wonderful actresses.
Jess, isn't it Jess something?
Who plays Nurse
Chapel.
Nurse Chapel.
Yeah.
They were there on the Walk of Fame, and I think the gentleman who plays Spock, I think he actually had to bow out early, so he wasn't. Of the 3 spots they had on the Walk of Fame, he wasn't there at the time, so I think he had to go do something, or he wasn't there yet or something. I don't know.
And the actress that plays the security officer.
Oh yeah.
She was supposed to be there. I don't know if she actually was there or not, since we didn't go to the panel and I didn't see her on the Walk of Fame. But I know she was at least originally listed as she was going to be there.
Yeah, and then the boys panel was. There were some good panels this year. They had like a couple really good headliners. There was a panel for the boys, and it was interesting. I think like half of the panel wound up getting COVID and couldn't come.
Oh man, that's all.
Yeah.
Like the actor who was Mother's Milk was supposed to come. The actor who plays Frenchie was supposed to come. I can't think of her name now. Kamiko, she was supposed to
No, I
come.
don't think she was actually ever listed.
Kamiko.
I thought she was.
No, I don't think so. But anyway.
Yeah, half the
Starlight?
boys panel unfortunately had to bow out. She wasn't signed up to come.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And it's so funny, and now my brain is blanking. What's her name? Lori Halden? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the one she used to be on Walking Dead. She played Andrea, and then she was, what is it, Scarlet Huntress?
No, it
Something
was
like that.
Scarlet something. Yeah.
The one that was
yeah.
involved with, man, I'm such a boys fan.
Let's get all those names.
I know, you know these names. Anyways, she was only in last season because, you know, she wound up getting slaughtered. She was there at the panel, so that was really cool to see her. But yeah, I think there was a couple of good headliners, but at the same time, like, I kind of felt like usually most years there's multiple panels that have major shows or new films that are coming out, or like a sequel film, you know, in a series. And I feel like there's usually a bigger panels. And this year I kind of felt like, wow, I mean, other than the Star Trek Strange New World and the boys panel, some of the panels kind of felt a little bit same old same to me. I don't know, but overall I'm still happy with Dragon Con. What about you, David? I'm just babbling.
No, you're fine. I had a great time. I mean, I always have a great time at Dragon Con, but yeah, it was volunteering. I think was even more of a focus this year than it was for me the previous year. Not to say I got plenty of free time to walk around, absolutely, but I didn't really go to any panels outside of our track. So other than like the stuff I would catch on Dragon Con TV in our hotel room, you know, really my con consisted of spending time at digital media and then, yes, walking around. I did some cosplaying myself, but went to one Star Wars photo shoot. Yeah, if I'd been prepared for that, I could have had the photo up and turned the photo up, but oh well. Did a Steve Zissou. I have a Steve Zissou costume I've been wearing at Dragon Con like for a few years now, and finally got around to meeting up with that group. We came across them randomly like last year and was like, wait, there's a group of people that all do cosplay for Life Aquatic, and finally found who they were, met up with them, and
they meet up at a pool.
They actually go to I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Georgia Aquarium, which is a pretty world-renowned aquarium there in Atlanta, and they always do a Dragon Con night Saturday night at the aquarium where a bunch of people go to the aquarium for a special event and cosplay and everything, and most of the Steve Zissou cosplayers go over there, which makes sense. But I didn't make it to that, but I had a great con. I just didn't go to any panels outside of digital media, but I had a great time at digital media. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
Well, one of these years, I keep saying it, but one of these years, I will make it out there. I know I will. It will happen.
I think I said it last year, and I'll say it again. Maybe I can find a way to get us a panel, and then I'll convince you guys to come.
They're right,
funny.
right?
It's funny you say that. On the digital media track, there's definitely a couple of podcasts that get to do live shows, and it's broadcast there, and they will stream it, and they do everything, and it's cool because it's like we're here doing an official panel, and we have people in the room while we're doing our podcast. Like, it would be kind of cool to have it where we're, you know, all sitting at a table together doing an official show with an audience, basically.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it would be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be
so
fun.
it'd be something that we probably could arrange in the future, but it would require you guys coming on out. If you split a hotel,
we'd have to
it's
at that
almost
point.
affordable.
I like that it's almost affordable.
If you split a hotel, you share a hotel together, it's almost affordable.
This is true.
Well,
This is not wrong.
like I said, I think it will happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. So, on that premise, it will happen. So, let's get to the business at hand, shall we? This past weekend in Anaheim, California, Disney had their D23. And by all accounts, I think for some people it wasn't quite what they were hoping for. And for others who are maybe a fan of Disney overall, they got a lot of things that they were looking forward to and some things that they hadn't known about and were a little bit excited about. For our focus, I think we're just going to talk about specifically Lucasfilm and the Marvel panels and what they announced at those two. So let's see. If we're starting with Lucasfilm first, what they showed was an Andor trailer. They showed a Tales of the Jedi trailer, the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer, a Willow trailer, and they talked about Star Wars The Bad Batch being pushed from September to January 4th, and Indiana Jones 5. Harrison Ford came out on stage to announce that this would be his last time in the fedora, and that basically showed a little bit of Indiana Jones 5. And from what I read, it seemed like the people in attendance were pretty excited about what they got a chance to see, that this looks like a return to form for Indiana Jones, and none of that Crystal Skull stuff that a lot of people didn't like. So
No.
of those things, I will say that one of the things that excited me the most was honestly something that didn't really necessarily occur within the panel, and it was a picture of Indiana Jones and Ki-Wei Kwan together, who played Short Round in Indiana Jones, and he had his arms around Harrison Ford hugging him, and it was like the most heartfelt, warming picture to see, because I mean, how often do you see Harrison Ford smiling, let alone smiling with the width of the smile that he was showing? So that was pretty nice to see that he seemed like he was genuinely happy in taking that picture. But for what we got, well, okay, I won't start it. But Yasha, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, thoughts? Go.
I haven't read anything about the Indiana Jones stuff, but I'm excited about having the character back on screen because I like the character, and I'm a huge Harrison Ford fan. I'll watch just about anything that guy does. So I'm excited about that. I mean, yeah, I saw the smile too, and it warms your heart to see that the biggest embrace, and just they looked so full of joy. So that was a lot of fun to watch. I haven't read anything when it comes to the trailer or what they showed for Harrison Ford. As far as the Star Wars stuff goes, I mean, this is not a surprise, I think, for a lot of people that know me, especially the people in this group, is I can take it or leave it. Like, I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of like, whatever. Hell, man, it took me 3 days. It took me 3 days to actually finish this week's episode of House of the Dragon. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm watching it, but it's not anything. I've never watched an episode of The Bad Batch. I got into watching Clone Wars for a while, and then I just got bored with that. And Andor, honestly, I could take it or leave it too. I'm not necessarily
Wow. Oh
super
my
excited
goodness.
about
Yasha, you're killing
that.
me right now. You're
That
killing
one
me
I
right
hurt.
know
now.
this
That
is
one
killing my
hurt.
Oh
friends. You
no.
guys are my dear friends, and I know that it almost pains me
Dang.
to actually say that. And usually, I embrace the comments and everything that comes with my my going against the grain, I guess you could say, when it comes to
Mm.
this. But I particularly like saying stuff to see David's reaction because it's just so funny because he has the same reaction sometimes that I do, where it's just like you sit there and he says something and I'm just like, it's just
I say things
how
like, I
am I
don't think I'm
friends with
ever
this
gonna
person?
watch all of Breaking Bad. I just don't think it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. And
Yeah.
this
Or
is the
just any
same
like other
reaction
things. I
you
mean,
get.
Breaking Bad, I've all but given up on. Like, I mean, and it breaks my heart because Bobby and I have actually had conversations about you too, both of you, and like in-depth conversations, and we're just like considering the shows that you guys watch, considering the character development that you guys like. We are both like in agreement that we think that you would enjoy the hell out of these shows. Maybe Michelle, maybe not you so much, but David, I mean, without question.
Hmm.
But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Like we could go, that's a black hole that I don't even want to dive into right now. I am interested in the Jedi Stories one. I do like that looks like a lot of fun. So I'll probably give that a shot. Look, I'll watch Andor. I'll watch the Mandalorian the next season too because I enjoyed those shows. I enjoyed them. I don't necessarily need an expansion on some of these stories that they're going into because I don't know much about them. So I'm trying to get into it and trying to grasp it, but sometimes it's hard for me to do when it comes to that. It just is because I have no source material to go off of. Like I've never
So
read.
is that why you're feeling that way right now about all the Star Wars? It's just that there's nothing that's there that you're just sort of known quantity of things to get excited about. It's just this new stuff for you that you're not really all that tuned into and it's got you hype right now? Or is it just like
I think that's a
just
big
not
part
really?
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of
Because
it. The fact that I have no source material to go off of. I don't know. I mean, I defer to you guys and I defer to David when it comes to like, hey, tell me what the hell this is. What's going on with this person? Or what's going on with this? Why should I care about this type of thing? And I mean, I have friends that are just huge Star Wars fans, and they're like, yeah, I'll watch it, but they don't know anything about it. So I mean, I think that's
interesting
just kind of where I'm at, like,
because
because it's
I think that with a lot of the Star Wars fans who have been fans for quite a while, there does seem to be a level of people who are wanting something new that the Star Wars universe hasn't given us. But then there's other people who still want more stories from characters that they recognize, like Luke and Leia and Obi-Wan and that those other characters. And for me, I feel like there's a way you can do both, but you do definitely need to start seeding in more newer stuff because otherwise it's just going to get stagnant to where what are you going to do with these stories? How many ways can you tell the same stories within the same period of time without branching out? In their efforts to help expand things, they've done a terrific job, in my opinion, on the book side, where we're in the High Republic of things, and there's so many new characters and so many other things that are working really well. And I would think they translate great if they ever moved into live action or even do animated series with these characters. So I think that you'll start to get invested in things as you get to learn more about them. And right now, it seems like the Star Wars universe is stuck in a way that they just don't know which direction they want to go into because they don't want to lose fans that have been longtime diehards, and so they try to appease them. But in appeasing them, it feels like they're trying to specifically cater to them in a way that they think that fans want to see things, and they're failing on that front. Hence Obi-Wan. I think that obviously a lot of the
or
fan
Boba
base
Fett.
was looking forward to that, or Boba Fett, and a lot of people were looking forward to those legacy characters coming out of the gate really strong and not doing that. So I think that there's certainly a level of malaise that comes with Star Wars because they've been burned from some of the things lately. And I think that I'm hoping anyway that with the new stuff that they've announced, like Tales of the Jedi, even though it's older characters that we know, that they give a fresh take or perspective on it that makes people start to get a little bit more excited and be able to see some of the newer things. Again, Andor is something pre-existing from Rogue One, but it's getting to see something that we haven't seen in a way that has been done before, with a more serious take, with more of an angle and a lens on the Empire, and seeing how rebellion kind of can form from within side of the Empire itself. So I think that it's going to give us a very interesting, intriguing story, and I hope that Andor is good for one, but that it also starts to build goodwill towards people and the next series that we would get, which, not everyone is into animated, so maybe they'll skip Bad Batch in January, but when Mandalorian season 3 comes around, that interest is propelled by how good Andor hopefully will be.
See, and here's my thing with that. It's like you're trying to get us to be interested in characters that not a lot of people know about, and I can kind of get behind that. I'm for it, but it's hard for me to gravitate towards that. I personally, when I think of Star Wars, look, I don't mind seeing the Rebellion, I don't mind seeing Armins and stuff like that, but I do want to see Jedis, I do want to see Siths, I want to see. Let me learn about some of these other characters that they have. I mean, and I know that this isn't the greatest example, but it's like when the last Star Wars movie came out with the last one in the theater, and they were doing promotions for it, and they showed still shots and everything like that, and they showed the Knights of Ren. I remember the conversation. I was like, well, who are these guys? And then you start talking about it, I started reading about it. I was like, the Knights of Ren sound like an awesome addition to like this story. Can't wait to see what they do. What, 3, maybe 5 minutes in the movie, the whole thing just completely disappointing? Or, taking a character as beloved as Boba Fett, who had barely any screen time in Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, but one of the most popular comic characters from Star Wars, and they completely destroyed the character, in my opinion. Like, just completely ruined that storyline of what we're supposed to be getting from this person. It's like, here's Boba Fett, but you're never going to see him in his mask, and he's going to be a softie when it comes to dealing with everybody. What in the actual shit? Like, no, I don't want to see that. Like, I mean, I wanted to, a little bit of a character development, I get it, but like, you went so far left from what the character was supposed to be, or what everybody envisioned, that I was disappointed and lost all interest in it. Now, I enjoyed, for the most part, The Mandalorian. I really enjoyed the last couple of episodes of the second season, but even with that, it was like, this is the same thing over and over again, and I'm getting bored, with this character and this storyline. And I'm just like, something's got to change. And I have friends that checked out because they're like, it's the same thing over and over again in every episode. I'm bored with it already. Like, nothing's shocking or bringing me interest to it. And then they came back and went back in it. But it's like, I mean, you're going to have to work hard to get some of the casual fans of Star Wars to support it, because, sometimes the diehards aren't enough. You have to get people that want to learn about it and are invested in it. I mean, that's, I think, one of the reasons why the MCU started to succeed as it did, is because you got some of the diehards, yeah, for sure, but then casual fans and people really started to latch onto it and associate themselves and identify with these characters, and it blew up to proportions I don't think they ever really prepared for.
Right. I mean, I'll say real quick, like, your overall sentiment about Star Wars, Yasha, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Like, I mean, there's some certain aspects, like, I think Andor looks incredibly good. And I'm super pumped about it. Am I nervous about it at the same time? I mean, it looks awesome, and there's still that small part of me that's like, we've seen plenty of examples of great trailers for things that were not very good. I mean, I have a pretty good feeling that's not going to be the case here. I mean, even the one clip I've seen, the kind of an extended clip I watched, was pretty solid. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but you never know. But, in Mandalorian season 3, it looks great. But, and that's fine. I love that series. I'm excited to go back to it. But it does seem like they're kind of lost, like you said, Bobby, and we don't really know where Star Wars is going in terms of the film, where Star Wars came from. Like, what are they going to do on the big screen again? I mean, we know there's apparently a Taika Waititi film coming on, which I'm not going to lie, I'm super nervous about. Put me in the minority.
Very
I don't
nervous.
care.
I think that minority's turned into a majority now, because I think a lot of people didn't care for Love and Thunder.
Right.
And now the people that were looking forward to a Taika Star Wars are now a little hesitant on it. So maybe you were in the minority before, but I think that's quickly turned into a majority.
Join me. Join me in the dark side.
And it's hard because I feel like Taika has done quality stuff, and
Totally.
I wonder what occurred. Like, did everybody go, okay, so all the great things that worked, just keep repeating it. Just keep doing that same thing over and over. New characters, different setting, same jokes, same things. And like, it makes me wonder who's telling Taika to just keep in the same, like, it's heartbreaking to see a director who has done really great things and really great story writing and to see where it's going. It, like, Love and Thunder was just such a not good film, and it makes me super trepidatious about Star Wars. And when it comes to the Star Wars films, like David was saying, they didn't mention anything. They didn't even just go, hey guys, remember we are going to start working on a film that Taika's doing, and that's going to be coming out. You know, we hope in the next 3 years, you know, that's going to be a thing. They didn't even say that. What the hell?
Yeah, and like the one show I'm super excited about, Acolyte, got no mention
that's what I was just about to
whatsoever.
say.
Sorry, Bobby, to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously they haven't started shooting Acolyte. I mean, they're not. It's not like they're going to do much, but we have been getting casting announcements like here and there in the past couple weeks or so for that show, and I'm pumped about it, but I'm super nervous about it. Like, it should be such a great show. Like, but you know, am I worried? Absolutely, but you know, it'd be nice to get a little more news about like what kind of feel the show is going to have, and maybe some even more casting news, but really nothing to do with Acolyte, which is a real bummer. And then I'm still wondering, like, I'm still shocked that we haven't heard who they've cast for Thrawn. Like, but whatever.
For who?
Thrawn.
For who?
Thrawn.
One of the character, Thrawn.
Yeah.
In
Which
what?
I mean, I can't remember if it was confirmed. It's going to be in Ahsoka. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think this is, as a whole, at D23, Lucasfilm really came up short in... This is a time to promote and / remind people of projects. It's to say, hey, like, we have this cool show we're going to be doing, and we just cast these 3 people, and oh, look, somebody's here today. Look at that. They're going to be playing so-and-so, the next show that we're starting to shoot literally in a month. Cool. Like, ideas to promote, and I feel like there wasn't a lot of promotion for the things coming down. It was all very like Mandalorian 3. Yeah, we all were pretty sure that was happening. We all knew that was happening. Most of us in this room, most of us that care enough to be watching the live stream or to be in the room there. And it's like, cool, yeah, great. Andor, I am excited for Andor. It looks great. I literally didn't need to see anything additional for Andor. Super pumped about Andor. I'm ready. Let's do this thing. But yeah, as a whole, like, it left me lackluster. Like, I don't think it's that exciting. Now, Indiana Jones, I am extremely trepidatious about, because the last film, I was basically crying in the movie theater and almost walked out of it. Like, my heart shattered that day, and I don't think it's ever quite replaced the piece. So, for me...
It was that bad, Michelle. It was that bad. That's dramatic.
I mean,
that's dramatic.
Well, I think it's important to note, like, not only
shattered.
was it that bad, but that's how important Indiana Jones is to her. Like, I mean, I love Indiana Jones, but I think she definitely takes it to another level.
It was not a good day for me. It was not a good day for me.
Clearly, that's a lot. That is a lot. Like, I mean, look, does it have its issues? I can take the good parts from it and compartmentalize it away from the bad parts and be like, was it great? No. Was it a 5? Maybe. You know, right down the middle when it comes to that. But Jesus.
It was a bad day it was a dark day.
I mean,
so
what happened? Did you get hit by a car? Like, what the fuck, man?
My point is because of that, it has me extremely trepidatious to even learn or see absolutely anything about the next film. So I'm very like, tread lightly, kind of when it comes
See,
to
I have high
Indiana Jones
hopes.
5.
I have high hopes.
Yeah.
And the reason why I have high hopes.
Can't let myself get
She's
to
protecting
that
her.
point
She's protecting
anymore.
herself by not
I
getting
get
excited.
that, but I have high hopes, and the reason I have high hopes is because Spielberg has gone on record when he first did the first two that he was not happy with how Temple of Doom came out, and he thought it was not a great movie. That's why he did the third one, and if that's his track record of like, I know he's not directing this movie, but it's like if that's his track record when it comes to like, hey, I was not pleased with how this turned out. And he's like, let's do one more and have a really, really great send off. I feel like, because that's essentially what happened with the third one. I mean, they literally rode off into the sunset. Like, I mean, it was a perfect ending for a story. But it's like, I think the pressure from studios and I think the pressure from, fans is like, yeah, you know what? I think I have an idea for another one. Grant, was it a good idea? Not really. They tried with, throwing the nostalgic aspect in there with Marion coming back and, having a son all of a sudden and that whole storyline. But I have high hopes that I think the next one will be a lot of fun to watch. And I mean, I just love seeing Harrison Ford on screen because I think he's so much fun to watch. He's so convincing. I mean, the guy's 80 now. Like, he's 80. Like, I mean, he's not going to be acting much longer. Like, I mean, period. It's not like, oh, he won't be acting in films every once in a while. No, it won't be happening that much anymore.
Right.
Like, I mean, he's going to retire sooner or later. One, I mean, it's no secret that he doesn't like Hollywood. He doesn't even live in the state. So it's like he's gonna say, all right, this was a great send-off, thanks, maybe do some voiceover work, but he's done.
Right. Well, to conclude my thoughts on the whole Lucasfilm panel, I think the Star Wars was lacking in its information. Indiana Jones, I'm treading lightly on, but I will say that for me the thing that really surprising is I knew this project was happening, but I will say to see this new trailer that just came out, to see the Willow trailer, I got excited. I loved Willow when I was a kid. My brothers and I watched that movie all the freaking time. And it was a part of my childhood. And I have always enjoyed the story and the friendship. And it's kind of like, it's just a different take kind of on Lord of the Rings kind of ideas of, high fantasy and such. And so I've always loved Willow. And like when I found out they were doing this new show for it on Disney Plus, I was like, this is going to be awesome. I think it looks okay from what I can kind of see. But then they showed this trailer and I was like, dude, like it's Willow, man. Like I'm in. Let's do this thing. Like it looks good. It looks like it was done well. I'm excited for it. I'm more excited than I thought I was going to be for it. So bring on Willow. 2 thumbs up.
I will say, Michelle, you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I think that for the Lucasfilm panel, the Willow came out shining to me because, not specifically just because I thought the trailer looked good and that they announced that Christian Slater is part of the cast as well, but that for me, it was the thing that had the least to lose. Like it was playing with house money, these other things you felt like should have come out stronger and they didn't. So almost by default, it just lifted itself up. But that was also in addition to having a good trailer. And for people who are sort of pushing it to the side, I think they might end up being pleasantly surprised when it does end up coming out. For me, I think that the whole Lucasfilm presentation really kind of signaled to me that for the first time in quite a while, I really feel like there's something that needs to change with leadership. And I have been not necessarily the biggest cheerleader for Kathleen Kennedy, but I also haven't been super down on her either because she's given us some good stuff and she's given us some bad stuff. But what they did at D23 this past weekend and the lack of showing and getting fans excited in Star Wars again, that to me says that there's a lack of good leadership going on when you know you have projects in the pipeline that we know about, that we want to see stuff. To not even show Ahsoka material at D23. Granted, they showed some stuff at Comic-Con, but that's already been a few months. So you could have obviously shown some more here at D23. So to not do that, to not even mention the Acolyte, I think they talked a little bit about the show that with the kids. I forget the name of it offhand. But again, it's why not get the fans excited for what's to come in a way that people who are been down on Star Wars or losing some of the love for it, like Yasha and others, that you would reinvigorate those people and say, oh, I'm pumped, I can't wait to see this stuff. And to at least start to formulate things either means to me they have no good plans, or they're just really terrible at managing the stuff that they have. So at this point, I'm really starting to see that maybe they need to shake things up there, because it feels real shaky over there.
I
mean, with all the still shots and the promotional material that Rosario Dawson has done for Ahsoka, and that we've seen her in the makeup, we've seen different things, we've seen her on set, we've said, yeah, you're not wrong, Bobby. Like, this is material that we all know is coming. How do you not even have a teaser? And I don't mean a teaser in the sense of here's a title page. I mean, so show some action. Like, that is a character that I'm definitely interested in learning more about, and was excited when I saw her pop up in The Mandalorian. Was excited when they were like, oh, let's give her a series. Like, that would be super interesting. Yeah. The Padawan for Darth Vader. Yeah, let's give her, a fucking series. Like, yeah. She's got to be, like, interesting as all hell there. And then it's like there's this gap of her story that just kind of, like, disappears. How have we not discussed this or even had this type of, like, adventure? Like, how is this not prepared more for D23? It's not like D23 was a surprise. You knew it was coming. How are you not like, give me a teaser? I don't care what it is. Give me 1 minute of action from the first episode. That's what we want to see. That's what people want to see. And that will help get people excited. Show us how much of a badass she is, like we saw in The Mandalorian. Like, how is this? You're right, Bobby. I mean, I'm just in agreement with you 100%. It's like, how is this not a conversation that is had? It's like, hey, how come we're not showing more material for these things that are coming up?
It was just all a great big missed opportunity, in my opinion, for Lucasfilm as a whole.
That's the perfect way to put it, is missed opportunity. So, David, if you don't have anything else to say, I think we'll.
I was just going to say real quick, when it comes to Willow, I don't really care. Like, that's just like a side note. I'm also saying that as someone, like, I saw that movie as a kid, but I never had like a connection to that movie as a kid. I think I saw it like once and I never watched it again. So there's also no nostalgia value for me here. Like, it just isn't there. And then when I watched the trailer for it, I was like, I could totally not watch this. I'd be fine. I don't really need to see this. Like, sorry.
Okay. Interesting.
That was my only thing I was going to add about the
I think they released a trailer for this a while ago too, didn't they? They have a teaser or something like that months ago.
Yeah, there was like something a few months ago.
I watched it.
Yeah,
and I remember watching Willow in the theater, and I enjoyed it for the most part. So I'm like, I remember seeing that when I was a kid and kind of digging it, and it was fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing, like, maybe watching some of that and the continuation of that story. Like, that's something, if they go with like the gap in age, if they try to make it was like, and then tomorrow, like, happened on Willow, I was like, no, dude, like, it's been fucking 30 years. Like, let's show something that's build up a new threat, type of thing. We don't want to talk about the same old thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure. Well, I guess it's time to get into the heavy hitter of D23, if you could say. That would be Marvel. So, you know what? I know that a lot of people are giving Marvel flack for what they did at D23, but honestly, I cut them a little bit of a break. One, because I think that they dropped a lot at Comic-Con,
True.
and two, they never said specifically anything about what they were going to do at D23. So really, they did give some things. And let me go through my list of what Marvel presented at D23. So they did Black Panther. There was some footage shown in the room that was not shown online. There was an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and they showed footage for that as well. They announced Captain America: New World Order that Tim Blake Nelson will be reprising his role as from the Incredible Hulk as the leader. The Marvels footage was shown for that. Ironheart, they showed some footage there for that. Loki season 2, they announced that Hui Kwan would be joining the cast for season 2. I don't know if they showed footage for that. I can't recall. But then they also had Echo, and they showed footage for that as well. And then Vincent D'Onofrio was on stage for Echo. And then when that ended, they went into Daredevil Born Again and brought Charlie Cox on stage. And so they talked about it for a little bit. Obviously, they haven't even started shooting yet, so there was no footage for that. They showed a Werewolf by Night trailer, a Secret Invasion trailer. They announced that for Armor Wars, Don Cheadle came out, and they also talked about that Secret Invasion would lead into Armor Wars. And then they also announced the lineup for the Thunderbolts, which includes Taskmaster, U.S. Agent, Winter Soldier, Elena, Red Guardian, Ghost, and Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. So, in my opinion, that was great for a lot of the people that attended D23, which sometimes happens when we go to Comic-Con and we're in Hall H. We see things that other people don't get the chance to see. So that's why I say that I think they're getting a little more heat than they deserve, because I feel like they really did something good, but it was mostly for the people that were there. It's just that the people from the outside looking in, we didn't get a ton of things. We got to see the Werewolf by Night trailer and the Secret Invasion trailer. So for us, it wasn't quite the same experience as it was for a lot of the people that were in the room. Did they announce anything specifically we didn't know about? No. And I think a lot of people had it in their heads because of a lot of the rumors that were going around on Reddit and other YouTube channels as well about how the Fantastic Four cast was going to get announced, and that didn't happen. So I think a lot of people were butthurt over that. But that wasn't that wasn't Marvel's fault. They never said that they were going to do that. That was just a lot of people from rumor mills that weren't trusted sources, like the main trade publications that were saying that. So I really think that Marvel showed a decent amount of stuff for people who attended D23, and I felt like I still did learn some things based on some of the stuff that they showed and talked about. And for me, the thing that I thought that was one of the more interesting things that I saw was the trailer for Werewolf by Night. I mean, the way that it even opens with the special presentation was just sort of an old school flashback to when they would do that for TV shows and stuff. And then also just being able to see that the stylistically, by the way, I forgot to mention that that is directed by Michael Giacchino. And so, you know, that he has a flair for music, obviously, but this will be his first directorial thing that he does. So just from a stylistic standpoint, it looks interesting. It looks different than anything else Marvel has done before. So whether it'll be good or not remains to be seen. But just from that trailer, I love the fact that they're once again doing something that they haven't done before and taking chances. And I think you can do that when you've done so many things that are beloved by so many people. So, like, from my standpoint, I think they had a solid weekend. I wouldn't say they had a better weekend than they did at Comic-Con. I think their Comic-Con weekend was better than their D23 weekend, but I think it was a solid weekend. So obviously when I mentioned it, Michelle, you didn't seem too excited. So what are you feeling about this D23's Marvel presentation?
I guess when I really reflect on it, I'm kind of basically in tow with what you're saying. Like, was it a great Marvel panel? No, because from the outsider's perspective, there was nothing really new. But like you're saying, if you were there, you got to see a little bit more information. And yeah, I think when it really comes to the Marvel, like, no, nothing really new and amazing was really revealed or brought forward because they had just dropped a ridiculous amount of Marvel stuff back at Comic Con. And so it's like I almost can't fault them for not being, for like, they really put a lot out there. And now they're kind of going, oh man, that's right, we got D23. Okay, well, I guess you can give them a little more of this and this and this and this if you're in the room, but we don't want too much more to leave the room really. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do, and I'm okay with it. Like it's fine. I think from an outsider perspective, and not being there really wasn't anything amazing. I mean, it would have been really cool if they had had some fantastic formation. I think that would have been the big, like, boom, mic drop moment. And they just didn't really have it this year. And I think we're just always kind of expecting Marvel to always have the big mic drop moment. And they really didn't. And that's okay. As long as it's not, like, a repetitive thing. Yeah, that's really all I can say. But no, I think of the projects that are coming out, I'm looking forward to them. You know, like you were saying, Werewolf by Night, I think is going to be really interesting. It looks good, and I think something directed by a person who is known for his music and his scores. I think for him to really kind of change gears a little bit, I think it could be a really interesting take on a storyline.
Yasha, you had a look when she said that. I don't know. Yasha doesn't. I don't think he agrees with us, Michelle, because he had a look when you start talking about Werewolf by Night.
I don't understand it. I don't understand what they're going for yet. I watched the trailer, I think, twice, and I'm like, wait, what?
Maybe that's the
I will give it a shot because it's Marvel. Like, I will give anything that Marvel does a shot. Just like I will give DC anything DC does a shot, even though DC has completely screwed the pooch several times over. But I don't understand what this is, like what this was. Like, and it just made me think of the werewolf movie that they released with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins, and it's like you watch that, and I think about that, and it's just like, it is far pressed that I really walk out of a movie and just go, "Wow, that was really bad." And I was not alone when I walked out of Werewolf, the Werewolf, when I finished watching that. Like, I mean, there were people in the audience audibly saying, "I call bullshit." Like, wanting to ask for their money back. It was so bad. I don't know what this is or what we're gearing up for. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand. But with that said, hey man, God bless Marvel for trying different shit. Like, David, you said this time and time again, is like they are really pushing the boundaries of their creativity, and I think they're fearless when it comes, fearless-ish, kind of, you know, like they want to try and put those things out there that are definitely successful, but they really try to like push the envelope and be like, hey, let's see how this works. Let's see how this is received. And I just watched the trailer and I'm just like, wait, what? Like, why is this watching like a 1950s newsreel from, you know, that you would see before a movie? Like, if you wanted to do it as a short, I can get behind that as a short. Like, that'd be a cute little thing that they do, like the Groot thing that they did online. But I don't know. I don't know what this is. I don't get it, but I will give the first episode a shot for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You mentioned that. I can't remember if this is supposed to be just a one-off movie kind of thing or if it's a series. I can't recall. I think
I was just actually series, thinking that myself.
but I don't remember which way they were going with it. And from what I remember hearing as well, it's supposed to be billed as a comedy horror project. So take that for what you will. And I think it does have shades of sort of like a grindhouse kind of old school Universal Monsters kind of vibe to it that seems like they're going for. But yeah, it really will come down to how this is supposed to be uh, implanted in the MCU in
Right.
terms of how I will see it, because right now I can't quite see how it fits. It seems like it's, if you were just to take it as a standalone thing, then I could wrap my head around that. But then trying to wrap my head around how it fits in the actual MCU feels a little bit harder. But yeah, I think
mean,
we'll have to see.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, David.
No, I was going to say my understanding was, and I mean, I just did a quick look and seems to confirm that it is like a TV special. Like it's a 1 hour single special.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and honestly, I don't have a lot more thoughts on Marvel, but for this specific one, my theory is that if it were to fit anywhere, if it had to connect somewhere, I could see it actually going into Blade. As crazy as that might sound, just because it's kind of amongst the supernatural monstery end of things, and that could be a way it could blend in if that's what they were going for. But it honestly, it could just be its own little thing, and they might just be trying something new, and they're just trying to throw spaghetti at the refrigerator and see what sticks.
I would be very happy if this is just its own thing.
Yeah.
Like I mean, yeah, if it connects to something like Blade or whatever, fine, as long as it's just not too much. But I think I might even be happier that it's quick special. They let Michael Cicchino make it, like, which is awesome for him. Like, if this is something he's been wanting to do, which I didn't even realize. But yeah, I think it'll be. I'm excited for the idea that it's just its own standalone little special, be a one and done thing, and we can move on with the MCU after that.
What else did you think about the MCU panel? I know you and I have not talked at all about them. We talked Star Wars, but you and I have not talked. I have no idea what your thoughts are on that.
I don't disagree with you, Bobby, in your sentiments about, like, it sounds like it wasn't too bad for the people who were there. We weren't, and it's fine. I definitely don't have the reaction to it like I do the Lucasfilm portion, like that we already talked about. Not to rehash it, we just discussed the fact that Lucasfilm, there was an opportunity to do things for a franchise that I think needs some work and help, and Marvel doesn't really need work and help. It's doing just fine. And even if there's some people like me that aren't as happy with some of the more recent stuff, but I fully recognize the franchise is doing its thing and it's chugging along and has no issues. And I am not one that was like, man, I've got to hear Fantastic Four news. I mean, I thought it would have been interesting to find out who was cast and what role if that was going to happen, but it didn't, and that's fine. We're going to find out soon enough. And so I also fall into that group of people who are not butthurt about that. So, sure. I mean,
but I mean, with that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, part of me was like, oh, maybe we hear something about Deadpool 3, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I don't know. I guess I'm just indifferent about the Marvel panel since I didn't get to see much of it because I wasn't there. And it sounds like it was good overall, but I just wasn't there to enjoy it. So I'm kind of like, okay, it's fine.
I mean, what's really the difference that we have from this as in versus maybe a Comic-Con? Like when it comes to like what we're able to see as outsiders, since we didn't get a chance to get into Hall H, like they might have released a few more things. Maybe they put a few more things online, but we've been at these Comic-Cons where you're there and they have this person and this person on stage, but they don't ever release any of that stuff to the public. Like they just don't. I thought, like just hearing some of the news and seeing it, I was like, oh, cool. But like you, David, I was like, oh, no Fantastic Four news. Oh, but we found out who's directing it. So that's kind of fun. Right. He did the WandaVision series, which was absolutely fantastic. So, I have high hopes for that to go in. But it's like, I have I was just talking to my buddy about it today. He's like, he does not care about the Fantastic Four. He just doesn't. He's like, I don't care. Like, I don't like them as characters. I think they're weak. I think they're not very great. And I was like, okay, but Doom. He's like, well, Doom is cool. I was like, well, they go hand in hand. So you're getting Fantastic Four, you're going to get Doctor Doom. And it's like, I would have loved to see and hear what they finally decided that they're going to cast for these characters, because that they're going to cast them for probably 6 to 8 movies at minimum. You know, like, I mean, they're going to be around for a while.
Right.
And it's, you know, it bums you out, but at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, well, we got a lot of other fun stuff, and you know, we got stuff to look forward to, and Secret Invasion looks fantastic, and all this other stuff. So it's just like, hey, like, what the hell? Like, I don't necessarily need to know all their plans. We know it's coming. Just like, okay, we didn't get X-Men news. What are you gonna do? Like, I mean, it's like, I mean, we know it's gonna happen. It's going to happen, but it's
gotta
like,
save something for the future.
You gotta save something for Comic-Con 2023, man.
Or
it's like, if they,
for that matter.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
I mean,
they've announced things so far out.
It's pretty far away.
Yeah, if they tell you about it, then people are gonna be like, "Where's footage? Where's footage? Where's still shots?"
Right.
Well, like, can we get
never
past
ends.
Wakanda Forever? Like, let's get past Wakanda Forever in like a month and a half. Like, what the hell are you talking about? 2 months
they
away.
Jumped right over it.
We're just gonna pretend that's
it's
not
never
gonna happen
ending.
and introduce some of those characters there. Like, we got Prince Namor coming in fucking Wakanda Forever. Let's talk about how badass that character is gonna be before we start talking about, like, and with him comes the Fantastic Four, so they're on their way. People, calm the fuck down.
Right.
It's
like,
you're right, because I was no,
don't put
you're
the
dead
horse
on
before
because,
the cart, man. Or don't put the cart before the horse.
I was watching I was watching a YouTube what was I watching? It was someone's YouTube channel, and they were live streaming the D23 thing, and it was during the Marvel panel, and you know they go through Black Panther stuff and however long they're spending on that, and then you know the guy who's live streaming it, he's like, all right, show us some footage, drop us some footage. And then, like, you know, they don't, and then they go into the Ant-Man thing, and they're like, all right, cool, drop us some footage. And then they don't, and then they go into, like, maybe, you know, something like Werewolf by Night or whatever. But every minute, like, the guy was already like, what do you got for me next? Like, what's next? What else you got? And it's like, how about you consume what you just got and contemplate that for a minute before moving on to the next thing that you want to see? And it's like Yasha said, you just got to calm down, be patient.
Maybe everyone needs like a Marvel detox. Like, you get too much.
Maybe.
So I'll take a break.
Yeah. There's a lot we got, and so
we got a lot coming.
Chill,
There's a lot
enjoy
coming.
what we got coming so far, and then we
people
can start getting into some of the other things.
People forget it takes time to make these things. It doesn't just like, it doesn't happen overnight, man.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot of time and special effects, and it's a lot to make a movie.
That, and I still don't know at this point what, if anything, they will do for Investors Day, which is what, around November-ish, I think.
I don't even know.
So
I think it's like right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's still one more thing that they have coming up that they could possibly announce some of these things we're talking about at. So all is not lost for those that are craving news. So
I'll just say too, like, I do miss, though, I think, a time when there was just San Diego Comic-Con. Like, you know, it almost like, and it's not really a good comparison, but I was thinking about it the other day, and it's like, it's almost like how we always just had cable, and now I have streaming services for everything. Like, we just had Comic-Con, and all the big news came at Comic-Con, and now it's like, well, now we have our own, you know, convention, D23, and now we're going to do DC Fandom online, and that's going to be our convention. And before you know
although
it,
not anymore.
Right, at least not this year, or not anymore, I guess. But yeah, I don't
like I don't mind D23 when it used to be just about Disney stuff. And not that Disney doesn't own Lucasfilm, it does not own Marvel,
they do, but
it's like, it was like, we're just going to focus on the parks. We're going to focus on Disney animation, and we're going to focus on Pixar and maybe some of the live action stuff. And now that we have Disney Plus, we'll focus on some of the Disney Plus stuff. But like, they kept it, D23 used to be more just Disney centric, and now it encapsulates everything. And I think as an umbrella and tent, it's too much. And I kind of miss just having Lucas and Marvel just at like Comic-Con, in my opinion. And that the D23 was more just the Disney stuff, which there was some interesting Disney things that came out of D23 this year. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, I kind of miss the days when it wasn't like every couple of months they have to have a panel of announcements of things. Like, it's cool. I don't need to know.
It's
And
like,
I think
I
you're right,
get-
Michelle.
And I get the Disney perspective of why they're doing what they're
Oh,
doing. Of course, I
totally.
mean they
Oh,
own
yeah.
Marvel,
Well,
they own
they own
Lucasfilm,
them.
and they're
To a
like,
certain
hey,
degree.
like. But I wish it weren't that way. But to a certain degree, I get it. Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah, but that's the thing. No, it's fine. That's the thing. I think is that where I think they're going wrong is that they're setting everyone's expectations for these things by being at D23, by being at San Diego
Yeah.
Comic Con, and having an Investors Day and having things. If anything, they should limit it to just one thing, and that be their thing for the year, and let people know, we're not going to be going to Comic Con anymore, or we're not going to be announcing things at Comic Con.
Right.
We're going to save that for
Pick
our
one.
D23, and that's
Yeah.
our thing for the year. That you'll get a big, news dump of everything that we've got coming. And that's the one thing we'll do for this year. But when you do so many multiple events, now people are looking forward to big bombs every single
Every
thing
time.
that
Yeah.
every event that you announce. Yeah, so I think, need to rein that in for themselves.
Right.
Well,
Do you think attendance would go down for Comic Con if Marvel, Disney, and decided to hey, we're pulling, we're not going to be here anymore, we're not going to do this anymore?
I don't.
Let's do the
think so.
WB
Don't.
too. Let's do Warner Brothers as well. Let's throw Warner Brothers in there. The big studios, the two biggest ones, Warner Brothers and Disney, and they say, hey, we're not going to drop bombs anymore. We're pulling completely from Disney, from Comic Con in San Diego. Do you think the attendance will start to go down?
I don't think overall attendance will go down. I mean, I think Hall H Saturday attendance might
Yeah.
like the line may not. You may not have to wait in line 2
Right.
nights, maybe just 1 night.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't think the convention would really be affected by it. But I think really, if you're as you're describing, Warner Brothers and basically all of Disney, Marvel and Lucasfilm and everything, they do nothing in Hall H. Maybe Saturday just wouldn't be the draw that it used to be.
But I mean, I think to say that if Warner Brothers was to pull out, then they would have to do their virtual D. what is it?
DC.
Yeah,
DC
they're
fandom.
Yeah.
They'd have to
fandom.
create their own thing then. So all I can relate to is that last time David and I went to Comic Con, Disney and Marvel was not there. Lucasfilm was not there. Warner Brothers was there, and DC was there.
Right.
And I will say, there was still a hellacious line outside that lasted for 2 nights to get in for Saturday. It was still packed room on Saturday, and all they had was, it was Aquaman. It was,
I don't even remember, to
Not-
be honest.
not-
I remember
Shazam,
Aquaman.
probably.
Yeah, I think
Shazam. It
Shazam
wasn't,
was a thing.
Yeah, it was Shazam. It wasn't Dumbledore. It was the one before that one.
Yeah, it was one of the
Oh.
Fantastic
Fire.
Beasts
Gotcha.
films. Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts film,
Yeah.
and it was still it was a busy room. So I think even if they pulled out, it would just be different things coming in. Maybe, different film companies are going to go, oh, son of a mother, are you saying we could take over Saturday? You mean? Okay, cool. Like A24 might be like, you mean we're going to move from Friday to Saturday? Yes, please.
Or maybe
it's just-
Netflix.
Right. It's just going to be different opportunities for other film companies to come in and do their thing. And I think it still would be a very popular event to go to, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. I didn't know if you were going to talk about any of the Disney stuff, but I also know we're getting close on time.
Yeah. Well, is there something you wanted to talk about, Michelle? I wasn't
I
going to
was-
bring up anything specific.
The only thing I was really going to bring up real quick was just that, they've got a teaser for live action Little Mermaid, which I thought looks awesome from that very quick little snippet, which is basically like a recreation of the original trailer from, 1989? I'm old.
Oh,
It was almost beat for beat like the way that trailer was.
I think it was
Just
older than that, wasn't it? Sorry, no.
87.
wow.
I was 89. I was young. Anyway,
I didn't realize it was made to look like the original trailer. I
It
didn't
is-
even remember what that
pretty
original trailer
beat
looked
for
like.
beat for the original trailer from the animated, which I thought was kind of cool, honestly. So that came out. That too, we learned about Lion King Mufasa, which could be interesting. I didn't know we needed that. Peter and Wendy information came out. Snow White information came out. I think the one that I'm actually really like looking forward to is the Pixar film that's coming out called Elemental. It looks
Okay.
a little Inside Outy to me. But you look at a character named Ember and a character named Wade, played by Leah Lewis, and I hope I don't say this so wrong. Mamandu Athi are playing the main characters for this film, and I think it looks cute and it could be interesting, very Inside Outy. And speaking of Inside Out 2 was also brought out, is formed that's officially.
Oh, wow, David. Wow. Are you that upset at a sequel, or you did not like Inside Out?
No,
Oh,
I
no.
loved Inside Out.
He loves Inside
I don't
Out.
want to see a sequel
Oh,
to
okay.
Inside Out.
So-
I don't disagree.
I just said the same thing to a friend of mine. I was just like, I thought the first one was absolutely beautiful.
It was wonderful.
I don't know if we need to revisit these characters.
No.
I mean, like, look, tell you, I'm interested, but I don't think that we needed to revisit them, because now it just feels like they don't have an idea of what to do. Well, how about we come up with an
That was
Inside Out
popular.
sequel?
Let's make a sequel to that.
Yeah, let's do that. You know?
I'm annoyed about an Inside Out 2. If they ever announced like a Wall-E 2, I would riot in the streets. Like that would,
I agree.
I would freak if they decided to make
You
another
know it's
Wall-E
gonna
film. Oh my god,
Oh my
I
God.
don't even want to think
I
about
almost
it.
would bet good
Like-
money on it.
I can't.
An Up 2, forget it.
Oh
like
God.
That one I don't
That
think
I
they'll
would
do.
riot.
Oh my
What
God!
the
Up to,
Up 2.
up to. Can you imagine?
We
Can
live
you
down the road
imagine?
from
Well-
Disney World. We'd light it on fire. We like light it all on fire. We're
Well,
done.
reason why I don't think they will do that is because didn't Ed Asner pass away recently?
Yes, he did.
Within the
He
last
did.
year or so. So I don't think they'll touch
I don't think they're gonna do that either.
No.
Wall-E,
I agree with you. I
I
think
could
the
see them doing a
Wall-E
Wall-E
2 would happen before an Up 2, and that
Yeah.
bums me out,
It
man. I think
does.
Wall-E is a borderline animated masterpiece,
Yeah.
and sorry.
Well,
I'm not happy about
I'm
it.
just kind of doing it real
Inside
quick.
Out 2.
I'm just kind of recapping real quick. So, they got some more information. They got to, if you were in the room, you got to see a little more on the upcoming Strange World. They released information for a new animated feature film from Disney Animation Studios called Wish. And I think it looks, I don't know, from what very little they're giving, it could be interesting. I think it's going to be a new fairy tale, and it might be something that might be a fairy tale that we haven't really heard about. So that's kind of cool. I'm trying to think what other Disney-esque things. I think that's kind of it for the
That's
Disney.
most of it, yeah.
I mean, we also got a long trailer for Hocus Pocus 2. They dropped that. And then also the information for the latest and last Santa Claus movie in the franchise.
That too.
And some of that
TV
too
part
was like
series,
really
whatever.
like Disney Plus Day announcements.
Yeah,
I
that was
think.
more
It
Disney Plus.
wasn't-
You're correct.
But I mean,
it
it's all
kind of
basically the same
merges
weekend.
in-
It was.
It basically, yeah.
Yeah,
the first
exactly.
day of
One big
D23, yeah. So, yeah, that was kind of it. Again, I will say, I think Elemental. I'm looking forward to that Pixar film. I think that could be a really good one. And there was also the sequel to Enchanted, which is going to be called Disenchanted, because that one also needed a sequel. Everything needs a sequel
That I
now.
don't care about. That's
I don't either, but I just find it funny. Everything needs a sequel, and it's just very frustrating that things can't just
Well,
be a one and done thing. Anyways,
yeah,
That's
those
all I
days are long gone.
I know.
If it
I'm
makes
old.
money, expect sequels.
I know.
Yeah, well, I think we're pretty much out of time for today. I was going to go into the Emmys, but
we did
I
say,
don't think we have
at
enough
least in the
time for
title,
that.
we said we were going to talk about the Emmys, so at least we should touch on it.
All right.
Okay.
Like,
I'll touch on it.
I know we don't have a ton of time,
because I know we don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I do have the list of winners here, or at least for some of the categories, not all the categories. Is that we'd be here another hour.
We'd be here another
So
hour.
supporting actress in a comedy series, Cheryl Lee Ralph won for Abbott Elementary. Supporting actor in a comedy series, Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso. Lead actress in a comedy series, Jean Smart for Hacks. Lead actor in a comedy series, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. Comedy series was Ted Lasso, went to Ted Lasso. Limited or anthology series was for The White Lotus on HBO. Supporting actress in a drama series was for Julia Garner for Ozark. Supporting actor in a drama series, Matthew McFadden for Succession. Lead actress in a drama series was Zendaya for Euphoria. Lead actor in a drama series was Lee Jung Jae for Squid Game. And best or drama series went to Succession this year. So those are your winners for the 2022 Emmys.
All I can say
Thoughts?
is I don't think that. I think there's a lot of TV that's out there that's good, and a lot of TV out there that's fine. And I love Ted Lasso, but some of the things Ted Lasso is going against were better. Some of the things that White Lotus went against were better, and probably should have won.
And weren't even nominated.
And we're not even nominated.
Right. Right.
There and I really do enjoy Secession, but for some of the things Secession won on, I don't agree with when I compare to what was nominated in its category. Like, I just kind of, the Emmys is all about votes and voting and people in that community that vote, and I'm just wondering, I'm like, are you all seeing other stuff, or you're all just watching the same things? Because there's other things.
Yeah,
I think
that was my takeaway too, Michelle. I 100% agree with you. I was really disappointed in when I was partially watching the Emmys and also just seeing the results. It was just like, for me, and it wasn't just being bitter because Better Call Saul didn't win anything. It was just that it felt like people were just like, oh, this won last year, let's just go ahead and let it win this year. Like, they weren't comparing the singular season of season 2 or whatever of this season compared to this season of this thing. They were just saying, oh, this show is overall so good, so we'll just go ahead and give it to it again, or stay with the program, as opposed to nominating new shows, because there, like you said, there is a lot of things out there, and I don't think a lot of people are pulling those things in to be able to be seen by voters, for one, so they're not being on the ballot. But then two, once you see the same names as last year, you're just like, I don't know, maybe I don't have enough time to watch all this stuff. So Succession won last year, let me just go ahead and pick it off again this year. Not to say that Succession isn't a great show, but like you said, Michelle, this season compared to some of the other seasons for other shows, was it better? That's debatable.
I compare season 3 of Secession to season 1 of Severance. It's no contest.
Right.
Severance was amazing. Like, oh my God, just out of the water. It was a ridiculously good season, and there's a few things that I do agree with. I think the supporting actress in a comedy for Abbott Elementary, and the few episodes I've watched of Abbott Elementary, she is a shining star. She is fabulous. I watched all of season 1 of Hacks. I haven't been able to watch season 2 of Hacks. And Elizabeth Smart.
Jean Smart.
She's fabulous. She's amazing. I fully endorse her winning that. But I will say, overall, everything else, I'm like, did you guys watch other stuff? Or just watching the same things? Like, there's so many other things.
Yeah. I'm not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to stuff like this. But then I watched that presentation and it makes me go, it did feel like a lot of the awards, I'm kind of repeating what you guys have already said, but it also felt like a lot of the things getting awards felt like, oh, well, we need to appeal to a bigger audience, so we need to give Squid Game awards in this, and I know the whatever, I don't know if you call it the Academy or whatever for the Emmys, that voting body, I know that it's something that's being voted on, but yeah, it does feel like what, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I watched most of it that night, and it wasn't until the next morning that, for some reason, it completely just left my mind that night. And it was like the next morning, I was like, wait a second, I was gonna fucking boycott the Emmys. Like, Midnight Mass didn't get nominated for anything.
That's right. Midnight Mass got nothing.
I'm like, why did I watch that shit? I think I saw a tweet from one of the actors in Midnight Mass the next morning. It wasn't even related to the Emmys, and that's when it clicked. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Why the hell I wasn't going to watch? Because, I'm still super bitter about that. The fact that limited series did not get any nominations whatsoever just completely mind-boggling to me.
Mind-blowing.
It's pretty wild.
It's because nobody watched it. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. But You would like to think that something like the Emmys would be able to see beyond, oh, what did people watch and what didn't people watch? But it doesn't seem to be the case.
It doesn't
so.
seem that way because, and no offense to the lead actor in Squid Games, he was up against some pretty spectacular actors in his category. And I am sorry, but no.
And I'm saying that I haven't even finished Squid Game, so I'm going to definitely put an asterisk there.
But still, no.
I haven't even finished it, but
Yasha's face.
I know. I'm sorry.
And like, I still haven't even. I mean, I'm still way behind on Euphoria, but from what I've seen from Zendaya in that show, she
kills it.
Amazing. She kills it.
She's
Totally earned
awesome.
her. I mean, and there's some I can go, yep, nope, super agree with, and then there's other stuff, and I'm like, where are you? Did you even watch the other people? Did you see them?
Yeah.
Did you see that show? Did you understand the writing that was happening here? Do you understand the depth of the scene for the writing for this episode that the director had to get to? Sweet Jesus. I just go Lizzo though. Jeez.
That's all I got with the Emmys.
I'm out.
Well, it looks like Yasha has absolutely nothing to say about the
Anything to add? Did you?
I didn't
Yeah,
watch it.
no,
I
he
didn't
didn't
even know
watch
that half of the
That's
shows
just like
were
I went out to
nominated.
dinner and I worked out and went to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I like if it wasn't for some of the commercials that I saw like last minute, I didn't even realize that it was going to air this weekend. I really didn't.
You're better off.
You
What's
had
that?
a better
Seriously.
evening.
You're better off.
No, you were better off.
evening.
You know what, David? You know what it was? I boycotted it for you,
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for standing in for me.
teammate, team player.
Got your back.
I mean, it seems like
I owe
a
you.
decent amount of people did as well because viewership dropped 25% from last year. So
And I say,
So much for
I won't.
That's steep.
That is steep.
Yeah.
That is
I hadn't heard
steep.
that.
That is steep.
yeah.
Wow.
I will give though. I liked the new setting of the Emmys. I think it was.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. I will say, like, it just seemed bigger. The room seemed bigger. Everything seemed a little bit bigger. They seemed to have much more fluidity. I liked the huge screen panels, and they were able to do like 360. Like they had one camera kind of panning the screens, and I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought Keenan did a really good job, actually. I thought his intro was really good, and the jokes, I think, throughout the show hit well. Quite honestly, it's one of the better hosts that they've had, and I was like, "Wow, this actually works for me." And usually the hosts are kind of, here and there, but no, I thought he actually did a really good job. So I think there were positives that came out of it, but not many.
I would agree.
Well, there we go. There's our Emmy talk.
Emmy.
So
There it is.
we did run a little bit long. Sorry for that, but that's pretty much going to do it for this week, David.
All right. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna wrap things up. Get on out of here. As always, we would love to hear back from everyone listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube, we are streaming live. We'll be streaming live Wednesday nights, hopefully every week in the future. Just look on our social media accounts, which you can find in our show notes, and we'll be listing times. But yeah, we'll be going live Wednesday nights on YouTube, and we might branch out to some other accounts as well to stream live. But for now, I think we're just going to stick to YouTube and do that kind of thing. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. You can leave questions and comments down below. Make sure to hit that bell icon and make sure to subscribe. And that way you'll be notified whenever we go live or post any videos in the future. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.